Morning, Year 9. Today we're going to be going back to doing adding and subtracting in algebra. You have learnt this back in Year 7 and 8, so you shouldn't have any trouble with this work. So you can only add and subtract like terms. So remember, like terms are terms which have the same letters and the powers on the letters are the same. So if something's got an x and a y and another term's got an x and a y, it doesn't matter about the order. Okay, it can be x, y and yx and they are still like terms. Alright, sometimes you'll have just numbers with no letters, they're still like terms. Okay, so having a look through some examples, we've got 15q minus q. There's two terms here, 15q and minus q. They both have a q, so they're like terms and we can collect them. You will need a number here, so just get your red pen and write a 1 in front of that one. So now it says 15q minus 1q, and that will be 14q. In the next one, there's two terms, r squared and plus r squared. They both have an r squared in them. They both have an r and they both have a squared on that r. So they are like terms and we can collect them. We're going to put a number in front of both of these, so put the 1 in because there's no number sitting there. So it now says 1r squared plus 1r squared, and that gives you 2r squared. So you're just collecting the numbers at the front, because 1 plus 1 is 2, and just write the r squared on the end. Okay, in the next one, we have two terms, 6def and minus 6fde. So remember, the things that separate the terms are the plus and the minus. So every term will start with a sign. Right, so this term here starts with a minus. Okay, now both of these terms have a D, an E and an F. It doesn't matter that they're in different orders. So we can collect these like terms. So 6 minus 6 gives you 0 on your calculator. So you don't need to write any letters on the end. Okay, so nothing is nothing. You don't need any letters for that. Okay, over here we have three terms. We have 7p squared minus 3. Remember the sign starts your term. And minus 2p squared. So 7p squared and minus 2p squared are like terms. They both have a p squared. So we can collect those two terms together. So I'm just going to rub out the underlining I did on the middle one, just so we don't confuse it. So we're going to be collecting 7p squared minus 2p squared. So 7 minus 2 gives you 5. Write the p squared on the end. Now the minus 3 here doesn't have anything that we can collect with it, so we just copy it down. Okay, in the next one, minus 3a and minus 7a are like terms because they both have an a. So if you use your calculator, just type in minus 3 minus 7, that gives you minus 10, and write the a on the end. And this one, the plus 4b, has nothing to collect with it, so copy it down. Okay, up here at number 6. So we've got 4 terms up here. We've got a 7p and a minus p. Both those terms have got a p in them, so we can collect them together. So we don't have a number in front of this one, so we're going to put a 1 with your red pen. So 7 minus 1 is 6, and put the p on the end. Now on the next part, we're going to do some different underlining for this. So this term is plus 8q, and the one on the end we need a number, so put a 1 in, and we have minus 1q. So we can collect these terms because they both have a q in them. So we have plus 8q minus 1q. So just do plus 8 minus 1, that gives you plus 7. When you do it on your calculator, you're just typing in 8 minus 1. It gives you 7, but you know that if your calculator gives you a number, the sign in front must be a plus. And don't forget to put the q on the end. Alright, in number 7, we have 8e and minus 2e. So we can do 8 minus 2, and that gives you 6. And put the e on the end of it. Then look at your other terms, and they both have an f. So they're like terms, and we can collect them. So you can do minus 3 minus 4 on your calculator. That gives you minus 7. And then put the f on the end. Don't go any further than that. We don't want to be trying to collect things that are not like terms anymore. We're finished. Okay, so in these harder questions, this one's asked for a simplified algebraic expression for the perimeter. So just think about the perimeter at the beginning. So we've got a rectangle here, and you know with a rectangle that the opposite sides are equal. So I want you to get your red pen, and if that's 3p, the one opposite also has to be 3p. So just write it in with your red pen. And the same over here. If this is 2m, the opposite side's the same length, so that's going to be 2m. Write that in with your red pen. So for the perimeter, we're going to add up all our sides together. So I'm going to start here and just go around like this so I don't leave anything out. So I'm going to write 3p plus 2m plus 3p plus 2m, and I'm back to where I started. So now I'm going to collect my like terms. 3p plus 3p gives you 6p. And then we have plus 2m plus 2m. So if you do plus 2 plus 2, you get plus 4. And write your m on the end. And that is an expression. We've already simplified it, and that's the answer to the question. So over here in the next one, if you've got equal markings on the two sides here, that means they're the same length. So get your red pen. If that's p plus 2, this must be as well. Okay, so now as I said before, we're doing perimeter. So you can start at any point you like. I might start down here. And just go around the shape and write down all sides. So I'm going to go around like this, in that order. So I've got 2p plus p plus 2 plus p plus 2 plus 2p minus 1. And if you have a look at it, we've got all four sides there. We started with that. There's the second one, there's the third one, and there's the fourth one. And we've added them all together. So just collect your like terms. Here we have 2p plus 1p plus 1p plus 2p. So all the p's can be added up. Don't forget to put the number 1 if there's no number. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2. You can do that on your calculator. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. And write the p on the end. And now we're going to add up just the numbers with no letters. Plus 2, plus 2, minus 1. And if you use your calculator, that will give you plus 3. Just make sure when you're finished doing your like terms that you've actually underlined everything, because then you haven't left anything out. And that's the answer to the question. Okay, down in number 2, it says draw a triangle and write algebraic expressions for its side lengths so it has a perimeter of 7d plus 6. So we are going to draw a triangle, just like they asked. Just draw anything. And just remember that down here it tells you the perimeter has to be 7d plus 6. So that means when we add up our three sides, we have to end up with 7d plus 6. So you can just make up whatever you like as long as it adds up to 7d plus 6 at the end. Okay, so I might go, all right, well, I'm going to make things really easy for myself. And I'm going to say maybe 2d plus 6 for this side length. And that way I've got the plus 6 out of the way already. I don't have to think about that anymore. So now, these two, all they have to do is add up to the 5d. So we've already done this bit, right? That's done. There it is. You don't have to worry about that. So everything else now has to make sure it totals to 7d. Well, I've got 2D there, so I've got 5 more Ds to sort of split up here. So you can do whatever you like. Alright, so I might make this 3D and 2D. So now, if you add them up, we've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7D, and the plus 6. And it's as easy as that. You can just change things around if you like, as long as when you add them all up, it adds up to 7D plus 6. So I don't think you'll find this work very difficult. I want them set out the same way I do them. So all these questions we're simplifying, you copy your question, underline what you're collecting with your like terms, and write your answer underneath, just like I've been doing, please. Okay, good luck with your work.